chemicals initiates it. Regular intake of alcohol exposes you to possibilities of coming down with peptic ulcer disease. Now, one other thing is ingestion of diet. What kind of food should you do? High levels of acid-containing diet should be minimized. All right. Sometimes you see people taking all kinds of concussions, herbal concussions. You are exposing yourself to great dangers. Okay. When you do all kinds of acid-containing meals or diet, lime, you're trying to mix lime and ginger, and you're trying to lose weight, but you are potentiating something else. So it's important that you are careful what you are mixing, prevent it. You don't have to take excessive protein diet. Some people like to take roasted meat, for example, what we call suya locally. You do a lot of suya and you do a lot of alcohol. That can potentiate peptic ulcer disease for people. So prevent it by reducing this type of foods. Try not to take a lot of carbonated drinks. Alcohol dropped drastically. Water is very important. And before you do some of these things, please eat right. All right, eat your balanced diet. Don't skip meals. For basic treatments, you just get to meet your doctor who would prescribe the drugs for you. But you're not supposed to eat heavy foods, but just eat in bits. All right. So you wake up in the morning, you want to sometimes do alkalinized water and then a slight breakfast. Not anything acidic. A balanced diet is fine. If you must go for a fast, then tell your doctor. Major symptoms, remarkable symptoms of peptic ulcer disease is that you have painful sensation here on your upper stomach. Many times that gets you to the back. Many people have diagnoses of peptic ulcer disease, which are really not peptic ulcer disease. So they come up to the hospital and they say I have ulcer. And I say, who said? And they say, well, my auntie said, or my uncle said. No, you have to have a diagnosis of peptic ulcer disease. And one of them, like I said, is a test of H. pylori. The other test is, which is usually the gold standard. There's urine test, one of the tests, but the gold standard is an endoscopy, where you get to see the internal organ and be sure that there's a wound there. And this usually happens when there's bleeding, from the mouth or from the anus. All right. Other symptoms, like I said, is bleeding. You have bleeding. So you don't just have pain. You have pain that spans from this upper stomach down to the back. So it feels like a dagger piercing through you, down to the back. It's characteristic of that. Okay. Especially worsened when you've not eaten or when you just ate. The moment you take in food, you feel that sharp pain that, wanes for a while. So food affects the pain. Okay. Of course, bleeding is one of the side effects, one of the symptoms of peptic ulcer disease, bleeding, either from the mouth, just see slight trace of blood, or from the anus. One more thing is the heartburn. You feel that constricting pain, heartburn. Then lastly, there are few other symptoms, but one of the remarkable symptoms is a headache. You have a persistent headache that can be called a migraine. Not necessarily a migraine, but many people just say, oh, it's a migraine, but it's not. You notice that headache coincides with when you have the stomach pain, or it precedes the stomach pain. Now, that is a kind of symptom of a peptic ulcer disease. Usually, it's said that some of the brain cells, have some mimicking cells that look like the ulcer cells. So whenever the ulcer is firing, or whenever the gastric acid is firing, you have the same firing occurring in the brain, and you have that headaches. Whenever you have it, you need to treat properly for peptic ulcer disease.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usaywa Mesale, and today we have a full house. Joined by Jenny, baby. Go, Jenny. Go, Jenny. Jennifer and Elsie Godwin.
You're blessed. You're blessed, my darling. Elsie God, the one and only.
How are you, Elsie?
I'm great. I'm good.
What did you go and do today?
Unfortunately, I could not commemorate the day. We'll get to that, but I had a good day.
I'm sure our viewers still don't know what today is.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I couldn't commemorate it, and I know I will not.
But so you don't look like you did not commemorate it because you were smiling too much.
So imagine when I now start commemorating it.
Please, just you see these words that she's using. Listen to it very well. When we now finally tell you what today is, then you put two and two together.
God is working it out.
Jennifer, how are you?
I'm fine.
How was work today?
Work is fine. It was okay.
So what happened? What's new? What's going on?
It's like you want to open everybody's.
What does not? One cannot keep secrets.
No, I can't keep secrets.
Don't tell her secret before you go on air. You can tell her after the show, then activities will have covered it before the next day. But you tell her before the show, you've told the whole world.
I won't say anything on that yet until it is 100% confirmed.
No problem. I'll wait till it's confirmed. You know, I saw a video. I thought it was a joke of a state governor. What's it called? Saying that his achievement for the state was that he brought Domino's.
It's my state. Don't drag me. Don't drag me by my crochet, please.
You know,
it's my state.
Immediately I saw that headline, I'm like, nope, I'm not reading this.
No,
there is no way I will read.
It was real, though.
I thought
it
didn't
was a
watch
joke.
it.
I thought it was a joke. I listened to the video,
and he was saying it with his full chest, like
they brought Chicken Republic. He bought Domino's. Really?
Those are his achievements.
He brought Market Square. Okay, Nigeria is a cruise.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're talking unemployment, and a lot has been going on in that space. I mean, we can't forget the young lady that was killed. You know, yeah, Ini, that's her name. That was killed. So we thought to, put our two cents into that conversation. And here's what we found as today's quote: "Of all aspects of social misery, nothing is so heartbreaking as unemployment." That's from Jane Addams. I think this is really, really apt, especially, in Nigeria. Nigeria has a huge unemployment problem and has left millions of graduates at the mercy of unscrupulous recruitment firms who charge applicants money but hardly give jobs. So tonight we want to shine the light on this very important topic, and we have Dupe Akinsiyon and Confidence Stervele, our very own Confidence. They are here to discuss the employment racketeering and scam going on in Nigeria. But first, we'll take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, so you're still watching Ways, in case you're still wondering what today is. This unofficial holiday is dedicated to having sexual relations with someone else. On this day, sex experts weigh in and share the benefits of sex, and people share how they are celebrating the holiday. Now, a doctor, Dr. Ava Cadell, a clinical sexologist and certified sex counselor, says sex has a number of physical and mental benefits. Sex is the best prescription for good health mentally, as it grows brain cells, physically as it burns calories, and emotionally as it releases pleasure-inducing endorphins. And sex has no expiration date, not forgetting deep emotional connection with one partner. So happy National Sex Day. That's all I can say. So else, you did not commemorate the day.
Such a sad thing.
Very certain. Don't worry. They will call you.
But
the people that are watching you.
God will make it happen.
They will say, if you come tonight, I can make it happen.
No, next year I'll commemorate it. By the grace of God. And in a legal way.
Yeah. That's a very suspicious legal way.
But it's very good. I mean, sex is one human activity that is healthy if done right. I'm not saying go and start doing it everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah.
Once you do it right, it's a form of exercise. It's a way to release tension.
Oh yeah.
And intimacy as well, like you said. So
honestly,
it's also spiritual for some people.
Have you seen very angry female bosses? They say that they research has shown that they are lacking it.
Yeah.
So just what people do these days, they just push somebody their way.
Why is Jennifer quiet?
I'm Jesus baby. No.
Okay. Jesus said go into
we don't do that here. We don't.
How will you multiply if you are Jesus baby?
When I'm married, I will multiply.
You multiply.
Then I'll commemorate it.
That's an interesting day. But well, for those that are active today, please, and you have a partner, legal partner, make sure you commemorate today. Release some endorphins. Eh?
If it's not legal, they should not commemorate.
I'm not there. I'm not
anyway,
there.
well, it's you people now. Go and commemorate it. I hope you plan to.
Steady.
Okay, cool. No, today. You not say steady. Today.
Don't worry. I'll give you the gist tomorrow.
Right.
Let me come to Jennifer. What did you find for us in the news?
Donald Trump. He brought out his ugly head. So the headline actually says, as U.S. urges Buhari to rescind Twitter ban, Trump praises action. So Donald Trump is actually very happy about the Twitter ban, and he's saying that for Twitter to actually delete Buhari's tweets, that's cancelling his right of speech, and Buhari has every right to also ban Twitter to ban Nigerians from using Twitter. And I think one thing that just struck me is Trump is actually just very bitter. Like he's
misery loves company.
He's just a very bitter person because his own was actually really bad. They removed him.
Multiple tweets.
Take away. Bye bye. We don't want
Facebook has banned him for 2 years.
So now he's so happy that
it's a personal thing for him.
If you leave him, I'm sure he'll go to the street and he'll carry placard. Let the Twitter ban continue. but then that's just on a lighter note.
No, but this Twitter thing is not going away anytime soon.
Nope. It's not.
I don't know. It is well.
Amen.
Okay.
What did I find out?
Yes, what did you find? Elsie Godwin.
So as part of the move to regulate social media, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, today said that Twitter, Facebook, and other social media giants must register in the country, that's in Nigeria. He also said Twitter has called for high-level discussion, and I'm sure he must be happy for that one. And he maintains that Twitter was suspended because it provided an avenue for people threatening the corporate existence of Nigeria, claiming that the owner of Twitter helped to fund the NSAS protest, and also allowing the leader of the outlawed, according to him, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, use the platform to call for killings of Nigerian security operatives. So my question is, under what company name or company law would they have to register? I'm not sure they have an office in Nigeria. They don't. It's not I'm not sure. They don't have an office in Nigeria. Is it trying to go the route of the conversation we had yesterday in regards to India, compelling them to have an office and then have a sort of chief operational officer in Nigeria that they can relate with? Also saying that he sponsored NSAS protests. What proof does he have? Is it just because of the, what's this thing called now? The hashtag on Twitter that was created that he's basing his assumptions on? And I mean, from the whole reaction and conversation, I'm just tired of talking because it's making me repeat everything.
I love the word you just used.
Which one?
Reaction. And that's what it seems like, you know, because it's, first of all, the government did, they did react. They put the cart before the horse, right? So now it seems like every single thing now they're scrambling to find a reason why they made that move in the first place.
Because if you say it's because of Nnamdi Kanu, he's very, very extremely active on Facebook.
Yeah.
He just passes few messages on Twitter. He has his Facebook group, Facebook page. Even the iPod radio has more than 80,000 likes on those that are actively following their page on Facebook.
Yeah.
So if that is your real problem, then maybe you should have started from Facebook. So it takes us back to the deleted tweets and reacting to a deleted tweet.
It's just a reaction, and that's where I have a challenge with our government, right? You have to find creative means. You don't just wake up, when things happen, take a pause, right? It is blessing for you to take a pause and just process things before you jump into action. But you see, in Nigeria, you first of all jump, then you now start thinking of what to do, which is total. And at the end of the day, you find yourself.
History has shown that they don't even have the ability or even the capability to actually process things. Over the years, all they just do is act and act and act and
react.
Act. And then they see something and then you're reacting. And they are always throwing tantrums. And you're not a child. Why are you acting like a child? We're all grown-ups here. Can we act our age?
And act, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
So it's even difficult for me to think that this government will be ready, or in fact, the people in leadership in Nigeria will be ready for a decent conversation. Like, we can have very hard conversations, and I'm telling you, these are my displeasures, and you would be able to take it and give me your own feedback. But I think it's difficult in Nigeria. So that's why you see, even in the Senate, in the House of Reps, you see them throwing punches. We do not know how to communicate in this country. The next thing you do, because you lack the capacity to comprehend whatever it is the person is saying, the next thing you start to throw punches, right? So, and you see, and when you see somebody fighting, right, that way, you will know that it's a big what's it called? It's coming from a big gap of, the person cannot communicate. The person cannot.
It goes back to the conversation we had regarding communication in the government as well. So I was thinking back yesterday after the show, and I realized, or it came back to me, that this is the same government that when the nation is in trouble, when the nation needs the president to come out and address the nation, they choose Twitter, which is not supposed to be. So they have also put a lot into Twitter that shouldn't be. They believed that their communication, or I think they still believe that their communication to the citizens of Nigeria, please, how many percentage of Nigerians are even on Twitter? So there are times we have agitations and all that, and then you come out and give us a tweet and we're working on this. Why can't you have a proper press briefing? At least NTA is there. Other platforms will always link up to NTA if you say you have something to say. Why can't you maintain that proper communication channel? But they too have also embraced Twitter as that place because they want to be as savage as people are when you're supposed to be leading and communicating in the right form, so.
Talking Twitter, this man, he snuck in and snuck out with VPN.
Yes.
So I'm not alone.
We saw it.
They saw it with cryptocurrency. In fact, I give it to Nigeria. They screen grab everything. They saw crypto, they saw VPN. So the same thing you're accusing people of. All right, so my story is quite an interesting one, and I think Elsie has some questions. So I'll just read the headline. It says, Anambra governorship, APC names screening committee makes about 315 million from the sale of forms. So APC has fixed June 26 for the conduct of its primary elections for Anambra governorship elections. And also, they said at the close of the sale of the nomination forms, this is nomination forms, that's today, sources within the party, or it was yesterday rather, June 8, sources within the party hierarchy told Premium Times that the party had raked in 315 million naira from sale of forms to 14 aspirants. Now, divide that by 14. That's about 22.5 million naira. Are
you done?
I'm done, no.
So my question is for all of us, Nigerians, anybody watching. So if a human being brings out 22.5 million naira just for nomination, he has not done every other thing. Campaign will come in, money will go in there. Why do you think that when they get into office, the first point of call will not be to make that money back? So if we say we want Nigeria to be better, we want better people there, then a lot of things need to begin to change because, I don't know.
Interestingly, as you're talking now, I'm just equating this to the unemployment conversation we're having today. You know how people will tell you that federal government job, come bring 250K, I will give you a job. And they would give you the job. So it's the same thing. So you see that this structure is not helping us, it's not serving us. Because at the end of the day, the corruption just gets bigger and bigger. How can I produce 22.5 million naira? Where do I get that money from? Just for a nomination form. So tell me whether you're going to get the right people in there.
In a country that the minimum wage is what again?
Well, 30,000. Some states have said they are not paying 30.
So
like
that's
Kaduna
not-
State
that's not 19, yeah?
reverted back to the 18,000. I mean 19,800.
How many people are
So
going to
in
pay
a
you
country,
30?
let's even agree that it's 30,000 naira. In a country where the minimum wage is 30,000 naira.
That's a lot of questions to ask. So we don't know. If it's possible for us to, bring somebody, well, we'll move it to Marianne. Plus politics. They'll deal with that. We'll take a break. When we return, we're talking unemployment, racketeering, and scam in Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, they go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria?
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
decision point. The way your baby's presenting, we have to rush you in. And my partner at the time was like, "You going to cut her? Are you going to cut her? Is it going to leave a scar?" And I said, "Am I a belly dancer? What is the problem here?"
No, I'm vulnerable about the future of the children, the future of mine and the future of the generation of my children.
I want to have nude pictures taken. Of you? Yes,
Yeah,
but
we
without
had that
showing my private parts.
conversation.
I want to
Yeah,
put it in my front room. And they said, "You can't do that. People will be embarrassed when they came into your house." I said, "Well, it's my body and it's my front room."
All the things that we do, what is the purpose of it?
I just realized that I was more trusting before I was 6.
So many women, they just feel like I have to cook for my husband, I have to breastfeed my children, I have to pick them from school.
Because society expects
Then you
them
go
to.
home and you cry and you stop your career, you can't do anything, then you blame everybody. You took that choice.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, in March, the National Bureau of Statistics said that the unemployment rate in Nigeria increased from 27.1% in the second quarter of 2020 to 33.3% in the fourth quarter. The NBS, in its report, said the number of active working population in December 2020, representing those within the age bracket of 15 to 64 years, was 122.05 million Nigerians. A Bloomberg report said in March that Nigeria surpassed South Africa on a list of 82 countries whose unemployment rates were tracked, with Namibia leading the list with 33.4%. The report said Nigeria's unemployment rate surged to the second highest on a global list of countries being monitored. Over the years, the number of people looking for jobs has been rising as population growth continues to outpace output expansion, and the stories out there are alarming of people being scammed or paying huge amounts of monies to secure employment, or some job seekers falling into the wrong hands of evil men, leading to their death, like we saw with the case of Ini. So according to the United Nations, Nigeria is expected to be the world's third most populous country by 2050, with over 300 million people, meaning things might get worse as it relates to unemployment. So how do we identify fraudulent job offers and guard ourselves against scammers? You know, how do we solve this problem? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us. Join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I think I've been programmed. All right, so let me come to Elsie and Jennifer quickly before I bring in our guests. I'll bring in our first guest, and we have two guests today. So quickly, in your opinion, I mean, when you see, because every time on my phone, I get SMSs. I never apply for a job. There's always one address in Ikeja, Allen or something, come for an interview, you've been invited for an interview, congratulations and all of that. These things happens almost every single week. I get the SMS. Yeah. So it tells me that some people are actually falling for these things. They are actually going for those interviews because that's the only way they will keep sending SMSs to somebody that is not responding. But let me hear your, if you've had any experience with job, scammers and all of that.
I've actually never gone for a fake interview before. That's because right from when I was, I think during my internship when I was in 400 level in the university, out of all my peers, I was one of those people who actually applied to companies to do my internship. And I spoke to people who were already working, who were already in the labor market, and I got advice where people told me, oh, whenever you get an email or an SMS asking you to come for an interview, all you just need to do is either Google the company and then check if it looks legit, and also go on Nairaland and then do your search. So basically what I do is I put the name of the company or probably the full SMS or the email that they send, I put it in my search bar on Nairaland and then it brings it out. So you get people who have probably shared their own stories there that, oh, this is fake, this is not legit, or this is legit, and all of that. So I got quite a lot during my NYSC and during my internship. I think I can't count. It was a lot. So it saved me a whole lot of stress.
So you were informed?
Yeah, I was informed.
Yeah. How are you, Elsie?
I was not informed.
Wow.
I went, I think it's somewhere around Ushodi, and went there, of course, job interview, there's availability. This is some 10 years ago or 11 years ago, way back, and of course, we got there, you saw the, wait, you have to pay 500 naira, was it 1,000 naira for your form and all that, and at some point, I just left, But these things keep happening. I mentioned Oshodi. We know they have an office in Ikeja. They have a place in Ogba. Yeah. Conversations like this come up every time on social media, even on this Twitter that we're talking about. And it's usually Oshodi, Ogba, or Ikeja, right? For a government who wants to be responsive, this is what you call social listening. You listen and start your investigations and make things happen. But when people come online to make these complaints, nobody takes it up. There's supposed to be at least state investigators, state prosecutors, states, people that work for the state or the country to ensure that things are working well. But you don't see things like that. And it worries me because you mentioned Ini Umoren, right? Yeah. She got killed because she was looking for a job. I also read a story recently on LinkedIn of a guy, is it a guy or a lady, who is still missing now. He went for a job interview. So it has gone even beyond extorting people to killing them, kidnapping them. Yeah. So it's worrisome because what they really want is a job. The level of unemployment in the country, like you just mentioned, is alarming. So it means that a lot of people are susceptible to falling for any kind of scam because they really want to get something doing. Don't want to be idle.
Everyone the thing is, the hardship in the country is just too much.
So because I want to get something doing, it's easy for me to get an SMS like you said and start wondering, maybe is this my brother or this my
that applied on my behalf.
Somebody that applied on my behalf, let me go. And when you get there, they will tell you to pay something. Now, even if you don't go ahead to pay and you realize, or maybe you are well informed and you turn back, you've wasted your time, you've wasted the transportation you would have probably used to drink your gari in your house and sit down. Right? So this is a big scam. I also saw the report on Premium Times, which is one of the reasons we are having this conversation, and the expose they are doing on the racketeering. This one, they have an office, was it Ikeja or Ogba as well?
Yeah, I think it was Oshodi or something.
They have an office there. This woman is sitting down there. You come in, you actually pay 3,000
naira, yes.
And then she tells you they will call you back for the job.
They will now show you a list of the jobs, that which one you want.
Just imagine 30 people walking into that place that day and giving her 30,000 naira, what she's making. Again,
of course, it's a big deal.
Much money, but then it's illegal. It's not right.
It's a big deal. But let me bring in our first guest. Dukwe is a chemical engineer turned HR professional with almost 15 years of progressive experience across multiple industries in Africa, North America, and in Europe. She has worked with leading global organizations such as PwC, AstraZeneca, and currently serves as a senior leadership and culture manager of a multinational FMCG company with presence across 28 countries in Africa and Europe. And she's joined in live from the UK via Zoom. Thank you so much, Dukwe, for joining us this evening.
It's such a pleasure to be here. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
All right, so Dukwe, you heard our little banter on the topic of employment, scam, and racketeering that is going on currently in Nigeria. I mean, you are an HR personnel, and you definitely would find things like this happening. So maybe we'll just start from what is your assessment, first of all, with the current unemployment rate, right, in Nigeria? What is the current situation? How bad is it? How do people bombard you with CVs?
It is bad. It is very, very bad, and it's particularly sad. Speaking from the angle of being an HR professional, people have expectations. You guys are the ones giving jobs. You are the ones hiring and firing and all of that. And people just think that when they walk up to you, considering the situation going on, especially in Nigeria at this time, everybody just thinks you should have something or you should be able to do something. But then the situation is not as easy as everyone would have expected it, right? It is really bad. I think one of the things that contributed to this issue or situation is even the COVID. A lot of organizations had to lay people off last year, and you have people cut off their means of livelihood and contributing to the already existing unemployment rate. So it just makes it look very, very challenging, you know, and I can imagine that a lot of people have become desperate. Even the people that are, you know, even scamming people are doing what they are doing because they've become desperate as well. So it's just, it's a mumbo jumbo. It's bad. It's
Absolutely.
really bad.
Absolutely. Honestly speaking, I also believe that those people are very, very desperate. That's why they will send me millions of SMSs and I don't return. But let me bring in confidence. Because confidence is our cybersecurity madam, you know. Confidence Stavele is a cybersecurity professional, cybersecurity awareness advocate, global shaper, author, and entrepreneur with over a decade worth of experience in the technology space. So it was important for us to bring in confidence as well, because most of these online scammers, job seekers and all of us, outside of the ones that you see posters on maybe major bus stops and all of that, the major one, they've all moved online, right? They either go through SMSs, WhatsApp messages, emails, so many scams going on online. So confidence, maybe you should help us access or analyze your own summation. What's happening with, what's it called, racketeering and scam when it comes to employment, you know, in the Nigerian market?
So the thing is, generally speaking, opportunity scams are a big thing now. So opportunities, you know, to get jobs, to get a scholarship, to go for a fellowship, or you get to travel. So opportunity scams are quite a thing. And like I would say in Pidgin, as country, they had, you know, everybody looking for ways to get things done, you know, ways to get money and looking for greener pastures. And so this is even spiking in this time of insecurity, in this time of unemployment, and all of the other vices you can think about that can drive people to become desperate. So we're seeing a huge spike in opportunity scams around jobs. And some of these jobs are, like you've said, I mean, I really liked you know, some of the things that have been discussed already, that, you know, those messages come to you. So some of them are text messages that come to you. Some of them are email that come to you. And then some of them are actually posted on existing legitimate board, job posting boards. They are using social media as well, like LinkedIn as well, Facebook, to actually post on legitimate platform fake openings. They're also creating fake platforms to then post fake openings. So it's a combination of all of these antiques we're seeing. So sometimes, you know, they'll post these things on fake on social media and begin to attract people. So, but generally the rule of thumb, to, you know, has already been shared. The number one rule of thumb is this is a time for eternal due diligence to be paid. You know, check out what that company and see what people are saying about it. Specifically, what we do at Noble Formaga is we research with all of these job scams and we publish about them. Some people, even outside of Nigeria, have found some of our posts because they Googled it and found that, you know, some fake UN jobs, for example, have been posted by us, and we put it out there. One of our posts around job scams has, you know, garnered over 100 comments because people are checking out. So do your due diligence, copy the employer's name, the prospective employer's name, copy the job posting, what's the role, whatever it is, they copy it and dump it on a search engine and begin to check. You'll find that one way or the other, somebody has reported it, because this is now a pattern. We also see travel abroad opportunities to get, jobs. So Canada, for example, is one that is really, really on the burner. And we've seen some emails that have been crafted to, you know, just to attract people in the tourism sector to move to Canada. And there are telltale signs of these things, but it's important that the first rule of thumb I put out is that due diligence is very, very necessary to pick out whether something is a scam or it's real, especially when it's coming to you.
Okay.
So I like that we're having this conversation, because it's not just, some people would think it's just about the unemployed. They also target people that are employed with bigger opportunities and make it in it. Because I was researching today, and of course what I saw is with COVID-19 as well, especially in America, of course Nigerian statistics, you know how we are. But in America, you know that there is an increase in job scams actually. Now they follow the due process, you're conversing with them, and at some point they want to get your social security number and your information, but you've gone through a process that you would also go through if it's a legit employment, and you're beginning to think, okay, this could be legit, right? But there is something that would always be off. For the person who was sharing his story, he was talking about how the money they were going to pay was actually too high because he had to now compare what he's supposed to be earning per hour in that job cadre and that industry, and what they were offering was way too high, and that was when he began to question it. So this is not just for the unemployed. They now work hand in hand from offline to online to reach out to people and then offer them something like opportunities to travel. The jobs are, it's not just even, I like what Stephanie said, it's not just about Nigeria right now. They gave you opportunity to say come to Canada and come and work here, come to Dubai, there's a job here, and all these are just in a bid to get something out of you. But now my question is going to go to confidence actually. It's now becoming almost extremely difficult to spot these people because they're also becoming smart. So what would be that one thing that you would ask that people look out for when they are seeking for job opportunities or trying to take on a job opportunity?
Okay, so number one rule of thumb, like I mentioned, is that you had mentioned is making payments. So most times, I don't know of any legitimate offer in this day and time that is seeking you out for employment and would ask you to pay a fee for any form. That's first and foremost. So generally speaking, that is a red flag anywhere, anytime. Once you're asked to pay. Also, once you're asked to submit sensitive information that has nothing to do with that opening. So, for example, some of them might say something like, "Okay, since you're looking to travel, give us the digital picture of your passport and all of that. For the training you're going for, okay, pay for health, pay for your insurance as well." Any payment first and foremost, and any request for sensitive information that per the time of the process where you're at, it doesn't make any sense to collect it. It's also a very big red flag. Also, if the company is messaging you or emailing you from a platform that is not self-hosted, so that means the name of the company is not what follows, is not what's after the @ symbol when they email you. So they're using a Google email account or a Yahoo email account. That is definitely a red flag because most well-to-do companies should have a self-hosted domain as well. Also, look out for typographical errors. Look out for if that company has a social presence on LinkedIn, for example. Check with other people that have worked there. That's generally something that you would do, even without it being a scam. Find out, has somebody worked there? What has been the experience of that person? If you see there's an opening at the UN per se, you can find out, okay, so is this opening there? How's your experience been? So do that due diligence. And if you do not find that that company has a presence that is a physical presence that you can verify, please do not go to that place. And generally speaking, if you check, you'll be able to see some of these things on search engines as well. It's also important that you check out some other things like their phone number. So take their phone number and search on Google what other places that phone number being used, what are the reports about that as well, and then begin to see the comments. Usually you would find more comments around it. So it's just important to to develop a habit of researching the organization that you are applying for, and just never give personal information that's not necessary, and of course not pay monies.
All right, so thank you, Confidence. I love this nugget that you're giving. I want to come back to Dupe because you are the HR professional, right? You as an HR professional, what is the professional approach when you want to source for people, when you want to put out employment opportunities? What should be the professional standard that, as an HR professional, that this is what I would look at? I would say, okay, yes, this is legit.
So thank you for that question. There are different strategies actually for sourcing talents or sourcing, professionals, depending on the level of the role, okay, and the kind of, how do I put it? Depending on the level of the role. Now, sometimes some roles, let me start from the executive level. There's something we call executive search. So you will not find some jobs online. They are really, really handled or handed out to top-notch recruitment firms, to recruit for those very sensitive positions in organizations. So if you're targeting a senior level role, one of the things you need to ask yourself, what's the reputation of this recruiter? So you may not know the organization because sometimes some organizations handle these roles very sensitively. So you hear things like, we cannot disclose the identity of the client at this time. So you might not be able to do all of the due diligence, that you want to do on that client. But you need to use your due diligence then on the recruiter. What is their credibility like? So the higher your status, there are certain things you need to look out for. Now, if it is not an executive search, sometimes people do what we call referrals, all right? So there are some people referring people. I mean, I've had a situation whereby I was considered for an opportunity that I wasn't interested in pursuing anymore. I had to tell the organization, you know what, I have a few people I can refer for this opportunity. So sometimes those kind of strategies are allowed. But when you come, you know, when you come further down the ladder, right, where you're trying to recruit graduate trainees, because this is where the real scam really happens. The fresh graduates, the younger ones that are very naive, you know, again, depends. So you see organizations who have things like graduate recruitment, where they're not recruiting for one position, they have hundreds of roles, maybe your customer care officers or your, you know, all those kind of field sales agents for banks and all of that. This is where the real scam really, really happens. Of course, it doesn't mean it doesn't happen in other industries. So one of the things people need to do is, you know, this due diligence we're talking about, you cannot overemphasize it. So people need to check. If I get an SMS, you know, I want to check, what does this look like? So organizations use recruiters, credible recruiters. Now, there are some service providers, we call them job banks. They are not recruiters, but what they do is, you know, they create a platform for candidates to create their profiles. So what they do is, you can go on that platform and register your data. So your name, your phone number, sometimes your address, and this is where the compromise often comes in. All right, so you're putting all of those details in place, uploading your CV. Some even go as far as putting their pictures. I've seen all sorts of resumes, right? And you upload all of these things in a database that you have no control over. Now, in some cases, you can really be dealing with a legit company, but in most cases, people are dealing with people who sell their data to the wrong people, right? So there are different things that happen because data is the gold now. Data is the gold now. I mean, there are a lot of SMS or messages you get, recruitment or not, that you're wondering, when did I subscribe for this? It's because data has started to change hands, all right? So you need to ask yourself, where am I putting my, you know, information? What is my digital footprint looking like? Because you get exposed when you put your data out there, and anybody can grab it and use it for their own selfish, you know.
You know what? Let's just take a very short break. Just 1 minute. We are back. Stay with us.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, Abi.
I am not hungry. If I need appointment, all I need to do is to start praising government.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say.
The moment we stop having charlatans occupy political offices, we will curtail hate speech.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, if you're just tuning in, we are discussing employment racketeering and scam in Nigeria. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so Jennifer, I'll come to you because I've not heard you in a minute.
I have a question for Dupe. So I know that in time past, Nairaland has actually been very resourceful. And I know there was a time I got one of those emails to come for a job, and I put it on Nairaland, but I didn't really get anything credible, anything that I could hold on to say, okay, this company is actually
legit.
And then I also know that there are some startup companies that right now, they don't exactly have like, they've not hosted their websites, and even probably their Instagram or Twitter pages are not exactly running right now, probably because they're still trying to gather more staffs. So my question is, are there other platforms where people can actually go to search for these companies to find out if they're actually legit or not?
Thank you for that question, and it's valid because we do have different organizations at different levels or stages of growth. Now, this digital met us in this life, all right? We did not, it cannot, it shouldn't outsmart us. When you have finished doing all your online due diligence and it looks like you're not getting any leads, please do offline. You can't go wrong. And so you don't try to go and find out about a place you're going on the day you're going, especially when you're not sure that where you're going is a place that is safe. I don't know if you get what I mean. So let's imagine that you get scheduled for an interview on the 14th of June, and you have done you've tried to do your due diligence on sites that you believe should give you credible information or insights about that particular organization, and you're not getting it. This is not the time to trust blindly. This is the time to say, you know what, my dear friend, it's like I have an opportunity around here. I need to quickly do a check. Sometimes some of these organizations, another thing you also need to check is they can send you message midnight and tell you that your interview is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Why the rush?
What?
I say, why the rush?
I know, why the urgency all of a sudden, and you just need to tell yourself, it's either I stay safe or I go the other way. But of course, everybody wants to be safe, right? So there are certain red flags. If you don't have the time to prepare, nobody should put you on a high jump. But I know people out there will be like, you know what, it's easy to say for people who already have jobs, but then you should, consider your life first. Before you think of that, because you need to be alive to eat. You need to be alive to go out and say you want to make a living. All right, making a living involves life itself. So prioritize your life first before that food. You see what I mean? So don't go out there. You need to do your check online and offline. I remember one time I got an email from an organization I did not apply to. I went online, I saw them, right, quite all right, but I didn't know the guys. I'm like, who are these people? Because I was coming from an organization. The only thing that gave me comfort was the fact that I saw someone reputable on their board. That was when I said, let me give these people a chance. I got to the organization. It kind of looks like a residential building. I'm like, who are these people? What are they doing here? But I had to give everybody in my house, guys, this is where I'm at. See the picture, take picture. This is, that kind of thing. So you need to be very, very alert and sensitive. You can't take online alone. Back it up with offline research as well.
Okay. Do you want to come to confidence?
Yes. The question I have is actually for both of them, but of course, confidence can go first. Dupe is a global leadership development strategist, and she's worked in the industry for years with multinationals and, of course, local here. And confidence is someone who is working with young people to help them grow. Now, maybe I'm digressing a bit, but it's still employment and unemployment. I know when it comes to graduates and them trying to seek opportunities, it can be a bit difficult. But with your years of experience, where would you usually advise people to start from in their career space? Right? So when they're coming out of school or even from secondary school, because sometimes I sit down and I think about them like, if I knew about some certain opportunities when I was at a certain age, I think I would have run faster, right? I started knowing them when you check them out, they tell you you are too old for it. You can no longer get those opportunities. So how would you advise parents watching, younger ones watching, and their career growth as well, especially when they want to be very intentional about it? Confidence can please go first.
LinkedIn. that is for me the number one place for building a network that gives you access to job opportunities and even gets those job opportunities looking for you. LinkedIn is my Facebook, and I believe we need like a Bible, because it's the network that is able to connect professionals with other professionals. So what that does for a young person leaving school, for example, is you're able to talk about your work, what you're currently working on, what you've been able to achieve on a day-to-day, if you like, on a month-by-month basis, and you begin to build your network. And recruiters, when they're looking for people like you, they will bump into your profile and begin to work with you. Currently, as we speak, I am the second. I found out recently that I was the second most influential person in cybersecurity in Nigeria, and I think that the reason that is happening is because of my use of LinkedIn. And I can't tell you how many opportunities have actually been seeking me out because of that. So I believe that LinkedIn is a space that young people should leverage. Connect with people in your industry, connect with people in other industries, talk about the work you're doing, talk about the challenges you've had, talk about how you're overcoming them. When you've had a new personal development milestone you've met, talk about it as well. Because like Dupe said, there are some opportunities I've had that are never advertised, first and foremost. And then they will come to you because you're putting yourself out on platforms where you're very visible, and people that are looking for people like you will easily find you.
Okay. So Dupe, do you want to come in?
Well, I think I'm just going to add to what she said, because I've seen a lot of people, get jobs, get connected with people who have been very helpful in their career. And I would say that that's a very great place to start. It's interesting because, when Confidence talked about, her recognition as the top influencer within the cybersecurity, I was also recognized, as a top HR influencer. But then the truth is, I've never gotten a job off LinkedIn. I have almost 90,000 people following me on LinkedIn, but I've never gotten a job on LinkedIn. Now, that can work for some people, but it may not work for everyone. But there is one thing that works without fail. And that thing is to first start by serving where you are. Where you are will vary from individual to individual. For me as a teenager, I remember when I was on holiday, I would go to my dad's office. Maybe not everybody have a dad to go to their offices and all that. But I remember that as soon as I left school as a graduate, I started from church. Church was my starting place. LinkedIn was not popular at the time.
Yeah.
What was I doing in church? I made myself available for the career hub in my church. Now I started to serve the professionals, because you are looking for people that don't know you on LinkedIn. There are some people that already know you in your circle. What value are you adding to them? While you're trying to convince people that don't know you, why don't you work with those that know you already? You already have some form of social capital. A lot of times, people ignore the people they already know and start fighting for those that they don't know. That all you can get from them is a selfie at an event. I would tell you to plug yourself. Look for the nearest professionals around you. Plug yourself and serve. Graduate, serve. You cannot. I remember my first job. My line manager had to ask me, have you worked anywhere before? I said yes. She said where? I said church. Because I'm a worker in my church. It must translate to something. So I make myself available for projects. That was where I conquered being shy. I can tell you that I'm shy. You don't have to believe me, okay? But I had to conquer all of that. I knew my first job was gotten through a church member. And I'm sure people could sponsor me for opportunities because of relationship. I can tell you that, how many jobs did I apply for personally that I got? Maybe one in my career. A lot of the jobs I've gotten have been
referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. Dupe, I found out about an opportunity and I'm sending your name. You know what? You go for it. I believe you can do it. These are mentors. These are people that I've established relationships with. Don't stress yourself trying to, find new stuff. Look around you. The person that will help you is closer than you can imagine.
So I guess it's a place for volunteering.
Of course, yes.
So I know that LinkedIn is also a very resourceful platform, and it has helped a lot of people. I mean, I've had people reach out to me to come for interviews from my LinkedIn profile. But also, I've also heard that there are people who actually fabricate and lie on their LinkedIn profile. They kind of like put out work that they've actually not done, just to kind of give themselves this persona. Because, I mean, everybody is achieving a lot on LinkedIn. I am this today. Oh, some people are telling you, congratulations for achieving this, for doing this particular project. And then now there are people, everyone is trying to package. But would you also tell maybe recent graduates or the youth out there to also be very careful about what people put online on LinkedIn?
Okay, maybe Confidence, go first. Or was that for me?
Both of you who.
So, like in 1 minute, please, because we run out of time.
Confidence.
This is what I would say, right? I mean, share your achievements that are valid. You don't need to coin it. I mean, of course, there's the part where you need to communicate in the language that your audience would understand. So sometimes packaging is necessary, but packaging is not necessarily lying. All right. When you're outrightly falsifying information about your achievements, then you're treading on dangerous ground.
Yeah.
So if you achieve something, if you finished with a first class or a 2-1, or you were the top in your class, put it out there. That just might be the attraction for somebody. Do not lie on LinkedIn.
Thank you. Confidence.
You know the funny thing, don't come speak about it. My achievements per se, in that light, I've never really spoken about it, but it's been more about service that I speak about. And I generally, as a rule of thumb, I face my front. Let me put it that way. So if somebody is celebrating something, whether or not it's genuine, it's not my business, actually. I will celebrate that person. What is important for me is that I, of course, put myself out as a professional, and when the opportunities that are, advertised on LinkedIn, that I take them. So that's basically the advice I would give anybody. Use LinkedIn and face your front, because sometimes.
But confidence, quickly. Can we report when we find? How do we report when we find scammed sites, scam, whatever? How do we report it? Is there somewhere we can always report that thing so that it will help future people?
I'm not sure about LinkedIn though, around reporting, but I think there should be a feature because there's a job posting bot. So of course there should be a feature for that. And I think also for LinkedIn, for Facebook, you can always report them. But I would generally say that share them with people who are already talking about scams. NoGoForMother.org, for example, is a platform that I manage with some volunteers. And what we do is whenever we get a scam, we research it and
report it.
break it down in terms of an analysis. How did we arrive at this conclusion? And you can see for yourself. So you can also share with us so we can amplify. Like I said, someone in Kenya, for example, escaped a fraud of about $1,000. That was a job scam because we had put it out and he found out. So these are some of the things you can do to help some other person.
I think this topic would have to be revisited, because thank you so much, Dupe Akinseo and Confidence. We're going to bring you back, please. I hope you'd oblige us. This was a fantastic conversation. I like the part of volunteering in church. I mean, we need to break it down for young people, how to start to get a job. Because if I have met you one-on-one and I don't like you, think I will recommend you for a job. I mean, that was very important. Thank you so much, Dupe. Thank you so much, Confidence. Thank you, ladies. We had a fantastic conversation. All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can interact with us, drop your comments, share, please like us and follow us, and tell people to watch us as well. Tell people follow us on social media as well, because we're planning a giveaway, so it's going to be huge. So just try and follow us, and so that we can also reward you for watching us. All right, so in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. Of all aspects of social misery, nothing is so heartbreaking as unemployment. This is very, very apt. We hope we're able to rise above this, because with the population surge, it's going to get even worse. But we hope we'll be able to at least reduce that number. We'll see you live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we'll bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Contrary to popular belief, corona is not a hoax. The virus is real. Be responsible. Wear a mask. Wash your hands with soap and water and avoid crowded places. Maintain physical distancing. Be responsible. Together, we can overcome the pandemic.
This is the lounge, the TW Conversation Lounge, where we talk about everything and anything that matters to you and to everybody at home, but to us more importantly, it's our opinions we share. Now, today we're going to be talking about the other woman. Today I am the main woman. These are the other women. So I'll quickly introduce my other women very quickly. And in the house, we have Ifoma Edigbe, our one and only financial analyst who has a bee in her bonnet for men because of our foundation that's called Boys to Men. And then sitting right next to her is my, I keep saying this Aburo thing, right? This is my Aburo, looking very yella, serial entrepreneur, banker turned businesswoman, great event coordinator today, producer, presenter of the event show. And then on my immediate left is my sweet baby, you. Looking very elegant. You know, you see all these people from the middle belt, there's something about them, their voice. You know, it's kind of like mede. You know, Mariam Longe is a co-host on the TVC show that's called Your View. Today we'll be hearing her view on the other woman. And of course, my one and only woman who takes care of women who are having babies for the first time through her own, Anne. Anne is the newborn coach, but also she's a budding producer, budding presenter, mother and wife, and a lawyer by training. Gracias. This is the conversation line. The conversations will begin shortly.